Welcome to Cyber Theo, where we unravel the mysteries of history's greatest figures. Today, we're looking beyond the myths surrounding Cleopatra, Egypt's last queen. While she's often remembered as a seductress, her true story is one of political genius, strategic alliances, and a fight for power that shaped both Egyptian and Roman history. Let's uncover who Cleopatra really was. 1. Cleopatra's early life. Context: Cleopatra was born in 69 BCE in Alexandria, Egypt, a city founded by Alexander the Great and the intellectual hub of the ancient world. Her family, the Ptolemies, were Macedonian Greeks who had ruled Egypt since Alexander's death. This is significant because Cleopatra was not ethnically Egyptian, though she was one of the few in her dynasty to fully embrace Egyptian culture and language. Family dynamics: she was the daughter of Ptolemy XII Auletes, a ruler known for his weak reign and dependence on Rome. Cleopatra's mother is more obscure in history but may have been Cleopatra V, another royal Ptolemaic figure. Cleopatra had several siblings, including her brothers Ptolemy XIII and Ptolemy XIV, and sisters Arsinoe IV and Berenice IV. These siblings were key figures in Cleopatra's political struggles. Education: raised in Alexandria, Cleopatra received one of the best educations of her time, studying philosophy, literature, mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. She was particularly well-versed in rhetoric, a key skill in political maneuvering. She could speak at least 9 languages, including Egyptian, a rarity among the Ptolemaic rulers. This linguistic ability was a political asset, allowing her to communicate directly with her subjects and portray herself as a true Egyptian ruler, unlike her predecessors. Public image: unlike the earlier Ptolemies, Cleopatra styled herself as the reincarnation of Isis, the Egyptian goddess of motherhood, magic, and fertility. This strategic move helped solidify her connection to the Egyptian people and allowed her to stand out in a dynasty viewed as foreign occupiers. 2. Cleopatra's ascension to power. Initial co-rule: in 51 BCE, Cleopatra became co-ruler of Egypt alongside her younger brother Ptolemy XIII after their father's death. Egyptian tradition required that male and female siblings marry and rule together, so Cleopatra was married to her brother, though this marriage was purely political. Power struggle: early on, tensions arose between the two siblings as Cleopatra sought to assert herself as the sole ruler. Ptolemy XIII's regents, including his tutor and key advisor, the eunuch Pothinus, acted against Cleopatra. In 48 BCE, Cleopatra was forced to flee Alexandria and seek refuge in Syria after being overthrown by her brother's faction. The return to Egypt: Cleopatra was not content with exile. She raised an army on Egypt's border and looked for an opportunity to reclaim her throne. Her chance came with the arrival of Julius Caesar in Alexandria, chasing his rival Pompey. Ptolemy XIII had Pompey murdered in an effort to gain Caesar's favor, but Caesar was horrified by the assassination. Cleopatra seized this moment to approach Caesar. Relationship with Julius Caesar. The rug story: Cleopatra famously smuggled herself into Caesar's palace in a rolled-up carpet, or bed linen, depending on the source. This daring act was symbolic of Cleopatra's bold and resourceful nature. It allowed her to meet Caesar directly, bypassing the guards of her brother's faction. Political alliance: Cleopatra's relationship with Caesar was more than just romantic, it was a strategic alliance. Caesar needed Cleopatra's wealth to fund his campaigns, while Cleopatra needed Caesar's military support to reclaim her throne. With Caesar's help, Cleopatra defeated Ptolemy XIII's forces in the siege of Alexandria, where her brother drowned in the Nile while attempting to flee. Caesar Ion: in 47 BCE, Cleopatra gave birth to a son, Ptolemy XV Philopator Philometor Caesar, commonly known as Caesar Ion. While the Romans were skeptical about Caesar's fatherhood, Cleopatra publicly promoted Caesar Ion as Caesar's legitimate heir. This move strengthened her political standing in both Egypt and Rome, though Caesar never formally recognized Caesar Ion. Stay in Rome: Cleopatra traveled to Rome with Caesar and lived there for a time, though she remained politically active in Egypt. While in Rome, Cleopatra's presence caused quite a stir, as she represented a powerful and exotic monarch who challenged Roman norms. Her luxurious lifestyle and association with Caesar only intensified the growing dissatisfaction among Caesar's political rivals, leading to his eventual assassination in 44 BCE. 4. Cleopatra and Mark Antony. After Caesar's death, following Caesar's assassination, Cleopatra returned to Egypt. The Roman world was thrown into chaos, and Cleopatra had to navigate a new power struggle between Caesar's heir, Octavian, later Augustus, and Mark Antony, one of Caesar's closest allies. Meeting with Mark Antony, in 41 BCE, Cleopatra met Mark Antony at Tarsus in a meeting carefully orchestrated by the queen. Cleopatra arrived on a magnificent, gilded barge, dressed as the goddess Isis, further emphasizing her divine status. Antony was immediately captivated by her charm and intellect, and their alliance began. Political and personal alliance. Like her relationship with Caesar, Cleopatra's connection with Antony was as much about politics as it was romance. Antony needed Cleopatra's wealth to fund his military campaigns, particularly his ambitions in the East, while Cleopatra saw Antony as a way to protect her kingdom's independence and her son's future. Children. Antony and Cleopatra had 3 children together: Alexander Helios, Cleopatra Selene II, and Ptolemy Philadelphus. These children played a significant role in Cleopatra's propaganda, as she sought to establish a dynasty that could rival that of Rome. Battle of Actium. Antony and Cleopatra's defiance of Octavian culminated in the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE. Their combined fleet was decisively defeated by Octavian's forces, leading to their retreat to Egypt. This defeat marked the beginning of the end for Cleopatra and Antony. 5. Cleopatra's death. The end of Antony. After their defeat, Antony committed suicide, believing Cleopatra had already taken her own life. Cleopatra, however, was still alive and negotiating with Octavian in a desperate attempt to preserve her kingdom. Cleopatra's final days. Cleopatra attempted to charm Octavian, as she had done with Caesar and Antony, but Octavian was more interested in parading her as a captive in his triumphal procession in Rome. Knowing that this humiliation awaited her, Cleopatra took her own life in August 30 BCE. Cause of death. The method of her death is still debated. The traditional account states she allowed an asp, Egyptian cobra, to bite her, a dramatic and symbolic end. However, modern historians suggest she may have ingested poison. Regardless of the method, her death marked the fall of Egypt to Rome, ending centuries of pharaonic rule. Legacy. Cleopatra's legacy is one of the most enduring in history. She has been immortalized in art, literature, and film as both a brilliant ruler and a tragic lover. Her image as a cunning seductress, however, often overshadows her intellectual prowess, political acumen, and dedication to her people. Cleopatra's story is far more complex than the one history often tells. She was a powerful ruler who defied the greatest empire of her time, using her wit, charm, and resources to protect Egypt. Her legacy continues to captivate the world today. Thanks for joining me on this tutorial into Cleopatra's life. Don't forget to like, comment, and consider subscribing for more historical mysteries and tech tutorials. Check my links below for more sources and discussions. Thanks for watching CyberTheo.